In this video, I want to show you which number is actually bigger, 7.134 or 7.2. Now, a lot of people might say, well, it's 134 is bigger than 2 because that looks like 134 and that's only a 2. But that's not the case. If you look at it in a simple way, if you compare the ones, 7 and 7, those are the same. After the decimal point, you've got the tenths. That's only 1/10, and that's 2/10. So clearly 2/10 is bigger than 1/10. That makes 7.2 bigger than that number there. Now what I'm going to look at is this 7.134 and the 7.2 on a number line. Right here I've got a number line, just a basic number line. Everything on the left hand side of the 0, that's where the negative numbers begin, and the right hand side of 0, that's all the positive numbers. Right, the bits that I want to focus on is 7 and the 8, the numbers between 7 and 8. So if you look on the corner of your screen, I want to compare 7.134 in relation to 7.2. So here, that's the 7 and that's the 8. I'm going to zoom in. So I'm just zooming into the number line. It's like looking at this with a microscope. As you can see here, that's 7, 7.1, 7.2, 7.3 and so on, so all the way 7.9 and 8. And then it becomes 8.1, 8.2, 8.3 and so on, so on. Now what I want to do is I want to try and zoom in into the area between 7.1 and 7.2 right here. So here you got 7.1, and over here, just follow the cursor, that's 7.2 here. 7.2, 7.1. I've zoomed in into that area, and in between you got the 7.1 to start off with, 7.11, 7.12, 7.13, 14, 15, and so on, so 7.19, and then 7.2, or you can call it 7.20. Right, the bit I want to do now is I want to zoom in between 7.1 and 7.11. If you want to, you can call that 7.10. See that there? See that 7.1? You can call it 7.10. I'm going to zoom in. That number's a bit hard to see here. There. So you got the 7.1 and 7.11 is on the far right. There's 7.11, and over here (7.11) and 7.10 is right there. See? So now I can zoom in between this number and this number. And so on, so you can see it's getting more and more accurate. Right, what I'm going to try and do is try and locate 7.134 on this number line, 7.134. And so you've got 7.101, right, 134, keep going. Right, this will take a long time, so I better zoom out a little bit. Right, there it is. That number 7.134 is what I've got over here, 7.134. Right, that's 7.134 right there. And then 7.2 is bigger than this number because 7.2 clearly lies on the right hand side of this 7.134. So I'll need to go further to the right until I reach 7.2. There you go, there's 7.2. So clearly 7.2 is bigger, this 7.2 is bigger than 7.134 because on the number line, think about it, that's the number line, 7.134 lies here. Further down, remember we went along the number line, somewhere along here, we ended up getting 7.2. So 7.134 is smaller than 7.2. Now what you need to understand is that what I've actually done is zoomed in into the number line. It's like looking at a part of the number line using a microscope. So if I was to place an ant on this number line, it would look massive. In reality, the ant hasn't grown big. Okay, that is not possible. So if I was to place an ant under a microscope, it looked big. Okay, the microscope doesn't make the ant physically bigger. All you've done is zoomed in and having a look at the ant in more detail. So if I was to put an ant on this number line, it would look big, right? Now if I was to zoom out, you can see what's happening there. See, that's what I started off with between 7.1 and 7.2. I'm just zooming out of the microscope. Right. On this number line, the ant would look tiny. If I keep zooming out, let's see how far this will take me. Obviously, if this was in centimeters, so from here to here is 10,000. So if this was in centimeters, from here to here, that would be 10,000 centimeters. If I was to put an ant here on this type of number line, where I've zoomed out, you wouldn't be able to see the ant. You'd have to zoom back in to be able to see the ant. Right, what I'd like to do is measure the length of that seed. It's a tiny little seed, and I've got a ruler here, and I don't believe the ruler is the best thing to measure this kind of thing, but what I'll try and do is I'll do the best I can. For that I'll need to zoom in. Notice as I'm zooming in, right, the seed is physically not getting bigger. All I'm doing is zooming in. Right, that's as far as I can go. Now you might believe that this seed is exactly 2 millimeters, 2 millimeters, but that's not the case. It might look exactly 2 millimeters, but I have to zoom in even further to find out exactly what it is. Now you can see that this ruler is not much of an accurate measuring instrument. So if I take that there to be 0, and this one I'll take as 1 millimeter, and this one over here I'll take as 2 millimeters. You can see it's slightly more than 2 millimeters. So if I want to measure this seed a bit more accurately, I'd have to have a better measuring device, a better instrument. But if I want to round it to the nearest millimeter, I would say 2 millimeters is the length of this seed. But if I want a more accurate length of this seed, I'd have to get a microscope and a more accurate measuring instrument.